have found that human beings make decisions in an emotional manner and then justify them rationally. We also know that the final decision about if the prospect is gonna buy something or not is actually triggered by the old brain, a brain that doesn't even understand words. So, what you need to understand whenever you engage in a communication with your prospects is that your prospects make decisions based on the old brain. When you think of the old brain, think of the word primitive. This may sound harsh, but people are actually chimpanzees, or at least when we're talking about the selling process. We already know that by speaking to the old brain, our chances of our prospects making a purchase decision increase exponentially. Besides processing information from the new brain and middle brain, the old brain responds to 6 specific stimuli, which, when mastered, will give you the key to unlocking the decision-making process. First of all, the old brain is self-centered. It has no patience or empathy for anything that does not immediately concern its own well-being and, of course, its survival. The middle brain can respond emotionally, and the new brain can respond rationally, but none of this actually influence the old brain, which actually makes the decisions. So, this is why 100% of the message, whether it is of your product, your sales page, or anything, should focus directly on your target audience. Prospects do not care who you are. They do not care if you have a business or not. They do not care about your history, your values, or even who you work with. If you thought about the word selfish, then you're totally right. The old brain is one of the most selfish organisms in the entire planet. Therefore, your prospects won't pay you any kind of attention until they know exactly what you can do for them. How will they benefit from what you're doing? The old brain might hear what you're saying, but all the old brain is thinking is, what's in there for me? So if you start on the premise that the old brain is the one that calls the shot and at the same time is very selfish, its only concern is its own well-being, then you can structure your message in a way that it will trigger the necessary mechanisms in the old brain to actually influence a purchase decision. The second factor that you need to know is that the old brain is highly responsive to contrast. Contrast is one of the few concepts that the old brain can actually understand and process. You can get the attention of your prospect buyers if you speak of things such as before, after, risky, safe, with or without, fast, slow, black or white. Anything that has a contrast and an opposition will speak directly to the old brain. Like dogs, the old brain works on a basis of prize and punishment. When dogs do what their owners want them to do, they give them a prize. When they sit when we say so, we give them cookies. But when the dog trashes our sofa or does something that we don't want them to do, we punish them. We either hit them with a newspaper or yell at them really loud so they understand that what they did is wrong. I'm not telling to punish your prospects, but you can make clear what they will win when they buy into your offer and what they will lose if they don't. The old brain is also really responsive to changes in the environment. It notices disruptions really easy. Things such as when someone enters a room, when a cell phone starts to ring out of the blue, or anything that breaks its pre-existing state. So if in your offers you include things such as change of tone, drastic change of colors or writing style or anything like that, the old brain will be triggered. So what you need to understand here is that the old brain is highly responsive to contrast. Neutral statements such as "we are one of the best companies in the world" or or one of the leading providers of blah 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 is not helpful at all. This type of language does not help your audience to quickly sort out information and trigger a decision. Why? Because it's neutral, it's not black and it's not white. So, when you plan and structure your WSO, make sure that it is filled with contrasts. Try to avoid being neutral and actually say what your customer will win if they buy into your offer and what they will lose if they don't. Another thing you should take into consideration is the fact that the old brain is not qualified to process written language. The use of words, especially complicated words, will actually slow down the whole process, and you will get your prospects thinking about making the decision instead of acting on that decision. This is why you need to speak to the old brain in familiar terms. Don't use overcomplicated or unnecessary words just to make your prospect think you actually know what you're talking about and you're a professional and an authority. The old brain is constantly scanning its surroundings in order to find what is familiar, what is friendly, what is concrete, and what is recognizable. So things such as a flexible solution, an integrated approach, a state-of-the-art marketing technique, or any expressions that include complicated words will just not work, and it will bounce right off your prospect's old brain. They need simple, easy to grasp and easy to digest concepts such as make more money, get more followers, increase your list of subscribers. Those are the expressions that appeal to the old brain, not the other ones, not the flexible solutions, not the integrated approach. The old brain is perfectly capable of processing simple terms without the need of the new brain, the rational brain, having to interfere in order to have the old brain decipher the message. Here's something that the old brain can also relate to. Things that have a clear start and a strong finish. In the book of neuromarketing, it said that the brain is constantly looking to conserve vital energy and will tend to drop information in the process. If the old brain can easily anchor a situation with a strong beginning point and a strong end point, it will not seek to use the energy to retain content in the middle, just because it might not be necessary or vital to what the situation requires. The old brain enjoys openings and finales and often overlooks whatever is in between. This is a huge breakthrough in the way that you need to structure your message. Like the old brain, you can save your energy and focus on building a strong beginning and an even stronger ending. Just think about movies for a second. If the movie has a strong opening sequence, it will hook people into keep watching the film. If the movie has a weak, poor, or uninteresting start, it won't hook people into keep watching it. They will just think that the movie is boring without the need to even see what's coming. If this movie has a really good start, people will want to keep watching it in order to find out what's coming, what's next. It really doesn't matter what's coming next. The old brain will already have said, I am interested in this, I want to keep on watching. If the movie gets boring, the old brain will justify its decision and will command the rest of the brain to keep on watching until something interesting happens again. So a solid and strong beginning is needed to hook people and to force them to keep on watching or listening to your message. If the movie has a good ending, a strong closing sequence, the old brain will actually qualify it as a really good movie. In this sense, the closing sequence is even more important than the start. But a good start is required in order to capture your prospect's attention and to have the prospect keep on listening to your message right until the end. If you don't have a strong beginning, you won't be able to get people to see your ending. And that's the magic of the whole process. All that matters is the beginning and the end, and actually whatever you say in the middle could be disregarded by a strong and solid ending. When it comes to product development, when you actually create the content of your offer, these are the concepts that you need to apply. The first part of the content that your prospects will actually engage with, the first part of the content that they will in a way digest, will actually say if the money that they spend on your product is actually justified or not. It's actually a weak start what triggers most refund rates. I'm not asking you to develop a top-notch, one-of-a-kind start. I'm just telling you that your start must be alluring and interesting enough in order for your prospect to think that the money he spent of your product is well spent. It doesn't make any sense that people will ask for a refund if they get to the finish of your content. They usually will quickly scan the first part of your content and decide if whether or not the money was justified. Also, having a strong closure on your product will leave your prospects with the overall sensation that the money was well spent. A good product has a really good start and a really good ending. Whatever is in between actually doesn't matter, in a way that it won't trigger refund rates and it won't leave customers with the overall sensation that your product was actually bad. When it comes to the sales page, the sales pitch of your offer, these terms can still be applied. A good start is the one that hooks prospect buyers into hearing and listening what you have to say, but it's actually the ending that will trigger the purchase decision. You can deliver as much amount of value possible in the start, as much amount of value possible at the closure, and only speak gibberish in the middle, and you might still get a lot of purchases. How many times have you encountered a sales page that has a good start, that has a good closure, that calls to action right in the end, but repeats the same things over and over and over and over in the middle, and you still buy the product? I know it has happened to me. We all have fallen into that act. That is because the good sales pages are the ones that are able to hook people right in the start, and they make you listen to all of what they have to say, and right in the end they get you excited once again by telling you what benefits you will get by purchasing this offer, what lifestyle you will acquire, and you still buy the product because it had a strong beginning and a strong closure. Remember this, the strong beginnings hook prospects into keep listening, and the strong closures are the ones that will actually trigger a purchase decision. Integrate this faculty and you will save not only time, but you will boost your conversions and overall customer satisfaction off the roof. Another thing that you can consider is that the old brain is visual. This may be because it says in the book that the optic nerve, which is physically connected to the old brain, is 40 times faster than the auditory nerve, the nerve from the ear to the brain. This is because the visual processing capability of our brain is near the speed of neuronal transmission. This makes the brain both extraordinarily fast and dangerously hasty. Since humans cannot rely on the speed at which the new brain processes information, we are hardwired to make decisions that are mostly based on visual input. So when communicating visually, you're actually speaking right to the old brain. If there's something that the old brain understands, that's images. Sales pages that have a relatively large amount of images present are much more communicative to the old brain than sales page that consists mainly of just text. That's the reason why children prefer books that actually have lots of pictures in them. That's why you might get scared away when you take a look at a regular book and you see that the print is really small. It's not that the old brain is afraid of words, it just can relate a lot better to images. So, whenever you develop a product or a sales page, I'm not telling you that you only use pictures and images. Never forget that through your words you can generate images in your prospect's mind without them knowing. Whenever we read a novel, what's actually happening in our brain is that our brain is decoding the words and generating images about the characters, about the plot, about the situations that the characters engage in right in our old brain. We can form highly complex and detailed images with only the use of words. So make sure that whenever you're writing, use the power of visual communication through words in order to generate images in your prospect minds, and those images are the ones that will actually trigger a buying decision. And this is how we come to the sixth element: emotions. If the images that you're generating in your prospect mind have a highly emotional content, they will have a much higher impact in the decision making than images that don't have this emotional content. This is why our old brain is only triggered by emotion, and this happens strictly because our middle brain, the brain that is just outside the old brain, is the one that handles and processes emotions. That emotions create electrochemical responses in our brains. These reactions directly impact the way that we process and memorize information. As humans, we're more likely to remember an event when we have experienced that event with strong emotions. If prospects can't easily remember your message, how can you expect them to choose your products? This is why ignoring your audience emotions is not really an option. So, generating images that convey emotions to your prospect buyers is one of the most important and most influential tools that you can use in your sales pitch. You need to make them visualize how they will feel after acquiring your product. Whenever you generate images in your prospect mind, try also to make them as specific as possible. Do not tell them how much money they could make with your system. Instead, tell them, for example, how they will be able to spend the money that they made by buying your product. Tell them what will they be able to do after they save a whole amount of time with your automation software. If you're able to step into your target audience shoes and give them the exact images related with the exact emotions that they as target audience need to feel, then you're basically triggering the exact parts of the old brain that are required in order for them to make a purchase decision. These are basically the 6 keys to marketing success. It is scientifically proven that the old brain only responds to these 6 stimuli. Incorporating them will give you fast access to the old brain and will immediately improve your ability to sell, market, and communicate.